Alright, here we are, just a few more days left until Christmas, and we have now reached the end of my Christmas retrospectives for the year, and the Nostalgia Talk 2025 finale. As we make the transition from Christmas to New Year's, I'm looking back on a very merry Pooh year. From Disney and A.A. Milne, this special follows our friends from the 100 Acre Wood celebrating the holidays. I love seeing all the plushies of all the characters in the opening shot, along with Carly Simon singing. So as our story begins, Winnie the Pooh is bringing in his Christmas tree while the narrator wishes Pooh a Merry Christmas, distracting Pooh as he runs into the side of the opening to his treehouse and has a hard time getting his tree in. He uses an empty honey pot as a tree holder. He's probably got several of those lying around. Pooh explains to the narrator that he and his friends are having a tree trimming party and gift exchange just when he slides off of the icy tree and crashes into a chair underneath a shelf, with the vibrations knocking down his gift for Piglet. But suddenly, Piglet knocks at the door as Pooh scrambles to hide the present, just as Rabbit shows up as well, Tigger not too long after, who figures, maybe we got the wrong house. Piglet, Rabbit, and Tigger's knocking annoys Gopher, voiced by our very good friend and a previous guest on Nostalgia Talk, Michael Goff, but he later joins in when Rabbit explains that they don't think Pooh is home, while he continues figuring out where to hide the present. Even Kanga and Roo try to coax Pooh into letting them in, just as Pooh successfully hides Piglet's present in an empty honey pot in a pantry full of others, although one of them appears to be full as he takes it out when Roo opens the door to Pooh's house. Just walking right in. How rude. With Pooh's head stuck in a jar of honey, as Rabbit comments, now why doesn't this surprise me? The gang gets to decorating, with even Eeyore joining in looking like he's at a costume contest dressed like a Christmas wreath. Pooh finally gets the jar off his head as Kanga hangs honey cookies on the tree that she and Roo made. Tigger bounces around the house covered in bells as the gang sings Jingle Bells while Pooh gets a head start on eating the cookies. Kanga and Roo look out at the snow as Roo wonders if Santa Claus is going to show. The gang recalls a time when Santa almost didn't show up at the 100 Acre Wood, with Rabbit beginning to tell the story. The first half of this originally aired in 1991 on ABC as Winnie the Pooh and Christmas 2, originally part of the series The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Christopher Robin writes a letter to Santa from him and all of his 100 Acre Wood friends. Even Pooh has some ideas for presents for everyone. Piglet, however, hasn't given a lot of thought to anything he might want for Christmas. But then Pooh realizes that they forgot about Christopher Robin, who wishes for a sled big enough for him and his friends. With the letter now done, Christopher Robin releases it into the wind for the North Pole. The next day, Piglet shows up at Pooh's house where he is decorating for Christmas. Sort of. I don't know if I'd call that decorating. And it seems that Piglet agrees when Pooh figures that something might be missing and thinks that his tree could use a present. A real one, or one that you've drawn in crayon? Just then, Piglet reminds Pooh that he didn't ask for a present from Santa in their letter. Realizing that, Pooh heads outdoors with a butterfly net as Piglet blows a balloon, hoping to find the letter's trail and catch it with the wind. However, the air goes inside of Piglet as Pooh uses the net to catch him when Piglet blows the air back into the balloon, but the wind carries the pair with it as the balloon loses its air, with Pooh and Piglet landing in the snow. But Pooh finds the letter stuck between branches on a bare bush and quietly goes to catch it. If I was Pooh, I'd hurry up before the wind carries it off. Meanwhile, Tigger, voiced at this time by his original voice actor Paul Winchell, pays Eeyore a visit, whose house only has a stocking up front as the sole decoration, but the vibration from Tigger's bouncing causes snow from a tree above to fall on Eeyore's home as it collapses. Eeyore laments, "Sure could use that umbrella. Hope Santa brings it." It seems as if Pooh and Piglet caught the letter as they make their way to Eeyore and Tigger. Pooh asks Tigger if perhaps he has a pencil, but unfortunately he doesn't, but he suggests Rabbit possibly could. As Rabbit is decorating his place for Christmas, we see these mischievous-looking bug-like creatures coming out of his mailbox, who knock on the door humming Christmas carols, to Rabbit's delight until these creatures head to Rabbit's tree and eat his ornaments, all of which are carrots. Rabbit uses a fly swatter to shoo them away, but it snaps in two after he's gotten rid of all of them, just as Pooh and the gang show up asking to borrow a pencil. The gang comes inside, and Tigger notices Rabbit's tree now completely bare, much to Rabbit's surprise as he finds a pencil for Pooh to borrow, and also points out that Pooh forgot to ask Santa for a present in the letter. Rabbit panics, "We've got to find that letter!" Which, thank God, Pooh already did, as Rabbit opens the letter and anxiously waits for Pooh to write down what he wants. The only problem is that Rabbit has the pencil and he hands it to Pooh, who struggles to think about what present he wants. Still very jumpy, Rabbit suggests a pot of honey. Yeah, it seems like Pooh's running out of those. As Piglet writes it down, Rabbit suggests 2 as a reward for Pooh's extra good behavior. So this means that Pooh's Christmas list is 1 pot of honey and 2 pots of honey. So really, 3 pots of honey. Yeah, you guys don't want a math lesson right now. It's Christmas break. You guys don't want to learn anything. Grateful for Rabbit's generosity, Pooh asks Rabbit if there's anything he wants from Santa, and as Rabbit thinks about it, Pooh suggests 2 fly swatters. Yeah, given how passionate Rabbit is about his gardening, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. Just as Rabbit insists that he's already got everything he needs, he pulls out some kind of encyclopedia and has Piglet add a sprayer to get rid of all the bugs. Tigger finds this fun and pitches in. Eeyore really wants an umbrella for his house, but what he really needs is a new house. And much like the others, he adds a second one to the list. Make it a whole condominium, with Pooh adding 4 snowshoes, so Tigger can bounce 6 times higher. But Rabbit has a better idea. Spring-powered snowshoes, so he can bounce halfway to the moon. After Tigger and Eeyore add even higher numbers of honey pots for Pooh, Piglet realizes how little time they have until Christmas morning, as the pair rush to get the letter into the envelope, with Tigger, Eeyore, and Rabbit leaving Pooh and Piglet to deliver it, while the gang goes to find the bigger tree to put everything under. Pooh tosses the letter into the wind, but it seems to have died down a bit and heads the other direction. Meanwhile, Tigger, Rabbit, and Eeyore wake up Gopher to help them cut down an enormous tree that he can barely carry, although big enough to fit inside of Gopher's hole while sticking out, with Eeyore as an angel ornament. But after Pooh and Piglet go their separate ways home, the letter makes its way to Pooh's door. Pooh tells Piglet, who then realizes that he also wasn't sure what he wanted from Santa, and worries about everyone else. Pooh decides to make up for it as he shows up at Tigger's in a Santa outfit. Tigger is delighted, but then realizes that Santa Claus is supposed to come down the chimney. Oh my god, Tigger, just let him in! Anyway, Pooh makes his way down Tigger's chimney and gives Tigger his present before struggling to make his way back up the chimney, although he manages with the help from Tigger and a broom. Tigger's present is a barrel with a shoe on a spring at the bottom. Tigger takes it outside, but it falls apart after Tigger crash lands into the snow, while Pooh makes his way to Rabbit's, who is feeding the bugs that destroyed his tree, awaiting his bug sprayer from Santa. Pooh uses Rabbit's window to get inside, and Rabbit also questions why he isn't using the chimney. After Pooh takes off, Rabbit opens the present, meant to look like a bug sprayer but with a teapot at the end of it, which also falls apart once Rabbit uses it, and the bugs use a fly swatter to attack Rabbit instead. Pooh also seems to have made his way to Eeyore's, but the gift of a new house turns out to be a suitcase that has closed Eeyore inside. Wait a minute, wasn't Eeyore on the tree earlier? Eeyore, Tigger, and Rabbit find Pooh with Piglet as his reindeer and believe Pooh to be the real Santa. Can you not recognize your own friend? Rabbit tries to get Pooh to make his reindeer fly to prove he's really Santa. After Pooh calls out, "On lawn chair, on badminton," Piglet slips and the sleigh falls back and crashes, with Tigger finally recognizing Santa as Pooh. Pooh explains what's going on to the gang, and Rabbit asks which direction the wind was blowing when Pooh sent the letter. Pooh answers S, believing that to stand for Santa, and Rabbit corrects him that S means south, and there isn't enough wind for the letter to be carried off to the South Pole. So Pooh offers to take the letter there himself, not caring about being without Christmas, only to bring the holiday spirit to his friends. On Pooh's journey, the wind gets stronger and carries the letter out of Pooh's hands, and Pooh can't catch up to it. Meanwhile, the gang sits around their enormous Christmas tree as Tigger gets excited about all the presents they hope to get, while Piglet misses Pooh and the rest of the gang gets emotional thinking about it. Even Eeyore. But just then, Pooh returns and sadly delivers the news that he wasn't able to make it to the North Pole, but the rest of the gang doesn't care. Suddenly, Christopher Robin shows up in a sled with presents from Santa for all of his friends. A fly swatter for Rabbit, I thought he wanted a sprayer, a snowshoe for Tigger's tail, an umbrella for Eeyore, some kind of toy with a propeller on it for Piglet, and a honey pot for Pooh. Pooh shares with Christopher Robin his adventures about going back and forth between getting the letter, sending it, and losing it again, feeling as if he is undeserving of a present, feeling being with his friends at Christmas is better than any gift from Santa, but he uses the honey pot to stand up to Christopher Robin's level to give him a hug. Back in the present, after Rabbit finishes telling the story to Roo, nearly ready to fall asleep, Pooh arrives in his Santa outfit with gifts for everyone. He looks like a better Santa than he did before. On Christmas morning the next day, everyone goes outside to enjoy their gifts and play in the snow. But Rabbit doesn't seem to be enjoying himself as Tigger annoys him with the many bells attached to his tail as Rabbit takes them from Tigger. While Pooh enjoys his Christmas present, honey of course, he realizes that he forgot about his gift for Piglet, but forgets where he put it and carries on looking for it all the way into New Year's Eve. This tires Pooh out as he falls asleep before he wakes up to Christopher Robin calling him from outside. Christopher Robin is preparing for a New Year's party with balloons, streamers, and a cake. Pooh wants to host the party at Rabbit's house for some reason, but then Christopher Robin reminds Pooh to ask Rabbit's permission first. At Rabbit's place, Rabbit is teaching Piglet about gardening when Piglet suddenly gets frightened by a loud knock on the door as he panickingly hides his carrot plant when Pooh comes in with all the New Year's decorations. Piglet seems to be hiding in Rabbit's pantry as Pooh follows his voice, but Rabbit, not knowing Pooh is in the house, shuts the pantry door before opening it to find Pooh laying down on the shelf eating honey. He's in there like, YOLO! Rabbit finds Piglet under his bed protecting the carrot, but then the door knocks again, once again scaring Piglet, much to Rabbit's chagrin. But it only turns out to be Tigger, who jumps onto Rabbit, landing on Eeyore buried in the snow. Pooh welcomes Tigger to the party, to Rabbit's surprise as Tigger gets a head start on decorating, but gets a little too carried away and crashes with Rabbit into the pantry, and the shelf and honey pots collapse with Pooh. This really irritates Rabbit, as he throws everyone and everything, including the decorations and cake out, and Rabbit packs his bags, wanting to get away from all of the craziness. But then Pooh, remembering something Christopher Robin taught him earlier, suggests that the gang make a resolution in an attempt to get Rabbit to stay, and Pooh vows to no longer eat honey. Piglet follows by promising not to be afraid anymore, with Eeyore following after, promising to be more cheerful. Tigger decides to go along with it, promising never to bounce another clown, which he breaks instantly. The rest of the gang also finds it hard to follow their resolutions, so they come up with some ideas to help. Tigger attaches a large rock to his tail in an attempt to prevent him from bouncing, and Piglet does all of Tigger's bouncing for him to keep him from being scared. But that gives Tigger a panic attack as he forgets he's attached to a rock, and he backs into it, running away in terror. Eeyore seems to be much cheerier as he enjoys eating honey while Pooh tries to restrain himself, bringing him down. It looks kind of funny seeing Eeyore smile. Meanwhile, Rabbit's getting ready to leave for Restful Acres, bringing his carrot with him when the gang shows up as their new selves, but that doesn't thrill Rabbit as everyone has really just swapped personalities. Annoyed, Rabbit leaves and the gang goes to look for him. But as Rabbit starts off, he slides down a cliff and lands on a log, with his suitcase launching Rabbit up to the trees, where he gets stuck just when the gang discovers him. Things get worse when a swarm of bees bring Rabbit's scarf into their hive, frightening Piglet as Tigger bounces to the rescue, carrying him down from the tree and back onto the ground. The beehive lands in Pooh's hands as he once again tastes the bee's honey, with even Eeyore breaking his resolution and the rest of the gang joining him in feeling down. Christopher Robin manages to catch up to the gang with all of the decorations, but nobody seems very excited about it as Tigger cries over Rabbit leaving. However, Rabbit changes his mind, feeling touched by the gang's effort to change themselves, but insists that he likes them as they are, as the gang rings in the new year together at Rabbit's house. "I'd like to make a toast."
I love toast!
"Have you tried it with honey? Delicious." After celebrating, Rabbit returns Tigger's jingle bells to him, with Tigger adding how grateful he is that he and Rabbit are friends, with even Eeyore enjoying all of the celebration. Just then, Pooh remembers where he put Piglet's present, heading back to his house, but trips over a rock on the way back, launching a honey pot to the direction of Rabbit's house as Pooh gives it to Piglet. Piglet is surprised at first, until Pooh pulls out the case that he hid inside earlier, a music box. After Pooh sings along to the music, Piglet hugs Pooh and tells him the best gift of all is his friendship. Okay, so there we go. That's it. That's all. That's a wrap on Nostalgia Talk for 2025. This definitely has been quite the year. For me, this year brought a lot of changes, some of which were good. And for Nostalgia Talk, I think we had some really fun guests this year, so I'd like to thank Dan Garza, Megan Fallenbach, Luis Santiro, Mark DiCarlo, Kathleen Kim, Michael Schupbach, Jim Conroy, Nick Balaban, Jean Beretta, Guy Gilchrist, Cynthia Preston, Bryn McCauley, Chris Phillips, Dan Mott, Bob Stutt, Larry Merkin, and Jennifer Segan for sharing their nostalgic stories with you and with me. And of course, thanks to all of you for listening this year, and I'll see you in 2026 with more Nostalgia Talk. I'm very excited for what's to come, and in the meantime, whatever you celebrate, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you next year.